ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Iron Age Nights. I hope that we are live because my YouTube thingy just has the loading wheel of death. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing?
Doing great.
Good.
Hopefully we're really live.
I also hope that we are really live. So some people in the chat are like, oh my God, that intro came in hot. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Oh, fantastic. Well, it is fantastic to be here. This is a long-awaited live stream for a lot of people. Yes, thank you so much for letting us know that we are live. Yes, this is a long-awaited live stream. This is a live stream that many of the people have been waiting for.
The people.
Many people. All of the people. Gentlemen, how have you all been?
Been good. Just busy catching up.
Yeah, good. Good. No, fantastic. Yeah, I've been really busy with the day job this last week trying to get everything ready for the safety training that I did today. So that was awesome. So, yes.
Safety training, it's the best part of the day.
No, it is not. I only have to do it once a year. Well, I think I have to do it twice a year with what we have to do for our contracts and stuff. Anyway, that's boring stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Happy Friday to everybody. And before I get to the introductions, it is time to do what I always do. We have to say hello to the chat first, and then we say hello to everybody here on the panel. We've got Kristen Colebrook down in the chat. Hello, good sir. How you doing? Neutron Boar, which that might be a familiar name to our very, very special guest over here. Nikolai Paulwell, hello. How are you doing? Arangmar Virillion, good sir. Black Knight, are you double dipping? Are you in the chat and on the stream? I see how
it's like a recurring thing now.
It seems to be a recurring dream. Yes, the Lord Otter. Hello, how are you? Kara Simonov. Oh, hey, look at that. My YouTube finally loaded. Oh, that's fantastic. Kara Simonov, how are you? Swift Swordrush, hello. The Lord Otter, Darkish Multiverse is down there as well. Hello, all of you. Horizon Talker, who had a fantastic back and forth with me on YouTube this week. It was fantastic. Trippy Soul, hello. Kiko Mon is down there. Isidro Lopez Irwin, hello, how are you? And we have Asher Brunner down there as well. Chris M. See what I'm telling you guys? The chat's going nuts. Like the chat's been waiting for this one. Kutsakira. That is a new name to the chat. Hello, how are you? Thank you so much for being here. Anybody new in the chat? Anthony Rondinelli. Hello. It is fantastic to see you. JVP Music, our guest from last week, is down in the chat as well. That's awesome to see. Betty Adams. Oh, my good Lord. And it just keeps going. It's still going. Skunk's Workshop is down there as well. Good Lord. Am I missing any? See Captain Bob. That is also a new name. Hello, Judy Davis. We've got Herman B. Hunter down in the chat. I hope I have caught up. Oh, my good Lord. Wow. Wow, thank you guys all for showing
is really
up.
Chatting tonight.
Yes, the chat is doing their job. And let's get the show started off. Kikomon for $2 to show me, show you. Kikomon, he is there. We have Ram down in the chat. What's going on, Ram? Oh, I love when Ram here. Ram was one of the early adopters of this channel. We've got Internet Hydra down there as well. Stay based. Let's get back to Ram Super Chat for $2. What up, Royce and crew? Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Ram. It is fantastic to see you. Happy New Year, everybody. Oh, my God. Boy, that's a hell of a way to start a show with everybody down in the chat. Hey, guys, if you wouldn't mind doing me a favor, Skunk's Workshop, he's about to say the same thing that I'm about to say. Hit the like button, please. Please hit the like button. Let YouTube know that this is the type of content that you want to see because the algorithm wants to bury this. And the reason they want to bury this algorithm is because they don't like us. And poo for them. And that's just where I'm going to leave that comment. Ladies and gentlemen. Huh?
That's because they smell.
Well, yes. You are not wrong, good sir.
Yes.
Kikomon says, Daniel, nice new setup.
Not a setup.
He's coming to us from the bottom of a fish tank. It's one of those realistic house ones.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like
I was explaining my intro.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah. You
That's Daniel's anti-kaiju bunker.
Yes, it is.
King of monsters, my friend.
All right. You may have to move a little bit closer to whatever microphone you are using, good sir. Mr. Daniel P. Riley. You may have to you might not be able to sit as relaxed as you normally do. Where are you right now?
Ooh.
Are you
I am on a business trip, so I am far away from home, 3 hours away to be exact, in idyllic Hanover, Pennsylvania, just outside of Gettysburg.
Okay. Ooh, Gettysburg.
Ooh, Gettysburg.
Gettysburg, good movie. Love the movie. Love the historical event there, too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have said hello to the chat. I hope that I was able to catch up with everybody. And without any further ado, you know, one of the things that I realized that I don't do in these, I don't introduce myself. I go to the chat, I go to you guys, and I don't introduce me. And I'm like, that's weird. That's weird.
We all assume you know who you are.
I mean, this is your channel, so
but like, I also feel kind of like a douche because there's new people, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should introduce people. We've got some other people in the chat. Aaron Behringer is down in the chat. Toxic Crusader, hello. All right, well, maybe I should do this thing, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Iron Age Nights. My name is Royce. I am a Drink with Crazy, I guess. I can't even say I'm a host of a Drink with Crazy anymore. I am a Drink with Crazy. And thank you so much for being here on the channel. I am absolutely excited for the conversation this evening. And without any further ado, let's introduce my esteemed co-hosts and our absolutely fantastic guest, which is long overdue for Iron Age Nights, Mr. Richard from Iron Age Media. How are you doing this evening, good sir?
Doing great. Looking forward to talking to everybody, catching up, and just been, trying to keep my feet under me with the new year.
There you go.
Yeah,
I have been lazy for the new year. Not even gonna lie, I've been just been lazy. Well, good, man. Good. It looks like you're getting a lot of people reaching out to you too. I don't envy you right now, good sir.
Well, I've kind of had a holiday lull. So if if anybody wants to do a self-promotional piece or talk about a piece of work that they enjoy that you feel meets the Iron Age criteria, just indie and new IP, just send me an email. So you can find me at ironage.media.
Yes, and I do have the links for Iron Age Media and Mr. Daniel P. Riley down in the description below. I also have a couple links for Black Knight down in the description below. He was sleeping when I was going to ask him for things, but I did post his minds.com link. That's where you can find him on his socials. He's very, very, very popular over there, it seems. And I also did post the link to Starshatter, his first novel, from the Amazon link as well. All right, so Mr. Daniel P. Riley, how are you doing, good sir?
I'm worn out.
I'm worn out. Oh boy, you sound
tired.
Yeah.
Well, a 3-hour drive will do that to a person, but there was a lot of running around to do. I've been basically on the road for over half of the day. So,
ouch.
Yeah, it is what it is, though. Getting paid.
There you go.
As far as the new year goes, real fast, I have been a little lax over the holidays like everybody else, but I'm getting back into the swing of things with my writing on G-Sedai 2, which began earlier this week. I am almost finished chapter 1, which I'll probably have done by the end of this weekend with my free time in between business meetings and things. And I have added to whimsyland.org, my website, a new page called Legacy of Heroes with some character art that's been done by various artists, including my lovely daughter. There's some empty space still, so, coming soon. But I have Paragon, I have James /Shadow Strike, and my daughter did a piece of art for Comedy and Tragedy. So at least we've got those in. I still need to get some art for Crescendo, and there's teaser of the 2 new characters coming in Legacy of Heroes 2 Rising Stars as well.
See, you say you're doing the lull, but you're not. You're not.
For me, it's a lull, man.
I realize how lazy I am. I hate you all. I say I've been late. I've actually been taking this holiday period. I've been spending a lot more time with the wife, a lot more time with the kids and stuff. Like, Monday night should have been streaming, had the day off, and I was like, yeah, playing video games with the kids. Got absolutely stomped by a 6-year-old in Mario Party.
Yeah. This happens.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Well, my 4-year-old daughter can't lose a board game. It's crazy. Not that we play very complicated board games, but she has like some unbelievable luck. It's like, oh, wow, she just rolled a 6 again,
dude. Well, and that's like what Mario Party is, and you're like, child, how are you rolling 10s? You're using Bowser. He's got 1 10 and like 4 zeros. How are you not rolling? She's rolling 10s, and then she gets a buddy, and then she gets to roll like another 8, and then she gets the extra roll that I don't even know where it came from because she found a chest somewhere. And I'm like, and all of a sudden she's just like, yeah, Dad, I just rolled like an 18. I'm like, I don't like you no more. It's insane. It's insane. And ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let us introduce the fantastic author of the Starshatter universe. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to welcome to the channel, Black Knight.
Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome, good sir. You are very good. Well, and if for those in the chat who do not know you, give a short introduction of yourself and the world that you are building.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Well, I am a self-taught indie author. I had to learn on the go. And of course, I made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Along the way, like most of us. And I'm happy to say that my readers, many of them had reached out to me and helped me selflessly. And I learned a lot of new things from them. As far as me being a storyteller, I think I started early on in my primary school days. Like a lot of kids, I had maybe a bit too crazy imagination, and I would always imagine and then write very short stories, which later helped me. And of course, then you have the fact that I kind of got addicted to adventure and science fiction novels and consumed a whole ton of them, because back in the day we didn't have like a lot of free access to other forms of entertainment, and this fed my overactive imagination a lot. And then about 20 years ago, I slowly began to conceptualize the alternate history universe of Starshatter. And bit by bit, I added more and more to it. And just as I wrote in my intro, in the beginning, I probably wouldn't have thought that the series would be 10 books long. I only imagined perhaps 3, but later down the line, it kind of grew, and it became what it is now. It's a decalogy plus additional books short novels and story anthologies with all the extra drafts, which I couldn't include in the books because otherwise that would have been huge. It's, but you know how it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
and of course, thanks to my readers again,
Yep.
and
Oh, it looks like we've got quite a few of them in the chat
yeah.
tonight. They came out in force for you, good sir.
Plus Akira, which you see in chat.
Yep.
In the chat, she's one of my Japanese friends, and she helped a lot with research for the Japanese side of Starshatter, and everything that you read in the books as far as Japanese culture and even the things which I had to invent, they had to be based on actual Japanese culture and things
That's
that
really cool that you went that far.
So yeah, she helped me a lot with that, and even with me inventing new terms for the books, because as you know, it's an alternate history universe. You can't you can't always use the things which exist. Sometimes you have to modify them. Sometimes they didn't happen. You know, this is this is part and parcel of this kind of thing. So yeah, I want to give her a shout out.
No, fantastic. Well, down in the chat then, Katsu Akira, imagination. I believe this is the right Akira.
Yep.
Imagination is the best human ability. Well, thank you so much for helping Black Knight with that. I do have, before we continue the conversation, I do have a couple of super chats and a rather large tip from Kikomon over in the locals side, which, by the way, you guys, if you guys would like to join the chat over on locals, you become a member of my locals. I believe it's like $2 to join or something of that nature, but you're becoming a supporter over there and you can support A Drink with Crazy over there. And if you guys want to get away from the Google chat system, you can go over to drinkwithcrazy.locals.com. And I say that because that's where Kikomon now goes and drops his monster freaking tips. But let's go over here. The Lord Otter for $5 says, mark my words, 2023 will be the year of the Iron Age. I don't disagree. It's growing. The enthusiasm is growing. The freedom-mindedness, the decentralized nature of where people are at is growing. And I think that it is, I think this is going to be a good year for the indie authors out there that are kind of the Iron Age persuasion, which is fantastic. And then
Absolutely.
Over on the locals side, Kikomon for $100.
Ooh.
For $100. Kikomon says, hail, Black Knight and Starshatter. The first novel I read, and now I am, oh God, Kikomon did it again on YouTube. First novel I read, and now I am hooked. Thank you. Number one, Iron Age YouTube daddy and the Iron Age movement. I'm excited for the future. Check your DM in a few minutes. Yes, I will check my DM in a few minutes. And Kikomon is over here on YouTube as well for $100. Again, Kikomon. Holy crap. I thought you were going to buy a snowblower, good sir. You can't be sending chats to me like that if you're going to go buy a snowblower. He says, hail, Black Knight and his buddy Neutron Boar. Great art, mate. Was a pleasure to work with you. Hope Roy enjoys his surprise. Oh, crap. Okay, so I guess, so Kikomon has been talking with me about, he's been messaging me like, dude, I got a surprise for you. Apparently he conspired with my wife, conspired with Neutron Boar, and I have a private message over here. Oh my God. That's fucking incredible.
You better show it.
Were you a part of this, Black Knight?
I will neither confirm nor deny.
Were you a part of this? I bet you were a part of this, weren't you?
Maybe.
All right, I gotta separate these in the windows because I don't want private chats. Holy fucking shit! Holy fucking shit!
Like I said, Neutron Bore is one of the best cover artists I know. He's great.
I have a shirt too from years ago from the gas industry that's almost that exact same color too. That's insane. Okay, all right. Let me see because I wanted to get it out. Let me see if I can actually pull up the Windows photo. This is crazy. So he sent me two pictures. The first one is a Kikomon picture. So we're gonna go.
Yes.
The first one is a Kikomon picture. Where is? Oh, hey, it's pulling up on this screen. Let's not pull up on that screen. Let's go over here. That's really cool. I need to touch base with Neutron Board, make sure that it is okay that I start using that picture in an official capacity. So let me, which one are you? Come on, pull up. There we go. Can I zoom in? Yep. So that's the Kikomon picture. All right. Nope. That's not the picture that I want. There it is. Okay. So first we're going to show the Kikomon picture. Guys, this is insane. Okay. Shit. All right. Please, for the love of all that's holy, StreamYard, please work. Please work.
Yeah, we're waiting.
I was gonna say the boomer.
I'm trying.
The boomer moment is stretching.
No,
on.
I just want to make sure.
Ooh, here we go.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh man, that's fantastic.
insane. That's insane.
Yes.
And it's really cool, guys. The next one is the next one's unreal. Like this one's really cool. Holy crap. Okay. All right.
I'm loving that. There we go.
Aha.
Holy crap.
Awesome.
That's
I like
incredible.
that they knew to tape the mic to your hand.
Wonderful.
Yep.
That's so awesome. Oh my God. Wow.
You got a new channel banner, it looks like.
I think I do. I need to touch base with Neutron Bore and make sure that just for stuff like this, it's always good to make sure that stuff like this is good to rock and roll. Holy crap.
Oh, by the way, Neutron Bore did character art for most of the characters, not all, but most. God. And he also did use Akira's picture with her agreement, of course, for her the character which is in Starshatter, which is named Akira, which I wrote, I think, maybe 12 years ago, many years before I even knew her.
Wow.
Which she also always says it was fate, and I agree that it kind of feels that I knew a lot of you even before I met you.
I will say this, and to tangent, gentlemen, I'm going on a tangent. Haven't done it in a few weeks. I've been trying so hard not to tangent. I need to tangent here. I need to tangent. Everybody. Goodbye, everybody. Bye, everybody. Okay, so but the tangent is this, and it's a good tangent. The community that seems to be gathering around A Drink with Crazy, Iron Age Media, and Whimsyland, or Mr. Daniel P. Riley down there. The community that's surrounding us right now is absolutely unreal, and that I was talking to the guys the other night in Gilded, and I was like, man, it's really hard to have these conversations with people that I meet on the day-to-day, and the level of support and enthusiasm and intelligence and sarcasm and around what we are doing is absolutely unreal. It's just absolutely unreal. It really is. I'm so blown away. I gotta show it again. It looks so cool. That's so incredible. I already made it in the background. What's that, Daniel?
So we got some drink with crazyception going on.
Dude, that looks so good. I have a shirt that is like that color too. Like it's exactly that color. It's not quite the V-neck thing, but man, I might actually have to start wearing green, which I don't like to do, but because I wear black, but that looks so, and he got my dad's jacket almost verbatim. Like the leather jacket, that's almost my dad's jacket verbatim. That's what, and I've only worn that on stream like a couple of times. But like, that's so.
I was gonna say you've got a uniform now.
I might have to wear it. Okay. Oh, I will pull it down. Oh my God. That's just incredible. That's incredible. Thank you guys so much. Holy crap. That oh, you guys fed my ego. Bad chat. Don't feed my ego. But also to the chat and to the community that's surrounding us right now. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It gives me so much motivation to see all of your enthusiasm out there. And I think Black Knight probably feels the same. And I hope Richard and Daniel also feel the same as I do. I can't speak for them, but okay, maybe I can't. Fine, I'm speaking for them. It's my channel. Screw you guys. I'm speaking for you now. But the enthusiasm that you guys are sending our way, you have, and Trippy Soul is like, no, it's all energy, guys. It's energy, and it flows literally from you guys and into us. And I'm starting to go, Trippy might have something there, because it is when I got on tonight, I'm like, man, I'm tired. It's obviously Friday. I will be tired and hammered by the end of the stream, most likely, and my co-hosts will have to carry me as they always do, for the last hour of the stream. But then I get here and I'm like, God, how am I going to do this? And all of a sudden I just see the chat go, and I see everybody and your enthusiasm. And then you guys are sending photos that you guys are creating, and a beautiful artwork for like a drink with crazy. I see you guys over there saying, hey, I'm writing stuff for ironage.media. Hey, I'm working with Daniel, or hey, I'm friends with Daniel, been working with him for a long time. I'm checking things out and growing. And that enthusiasm literally is transferring into just energy for me. Like I can't drink enough coffee in the day anymore to wake up, but all of a sudden I see that, and I feel my heart start to race, and I can just, everything inside me just wakes up just on a cellular level. And it's the weirdest thing to describe, and it sounds woo-woo and just strange, but it's true. I don't know. How do you guys feel about just that? Do you guys get that same kind of rush that I do, or am I just strange?
Well, you're definitely strange.
Yeah. You're strange. You're strange, but it's wholesome strange.
Yes, wholesome strange. Yeah. Not call the police strange, at least not most of the time.
Although we're a little freaked out by the energy vampire thing.
What's that, Daniel?
I said I'm a little creeped out by the energy vampire thing.
No, but it's less like an energy vampire, and it's more like if you guys have ever seen Dragon Ball or I guess it was Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods, where I knew
there had to be a Dragon Ball reference somewhere worked into this.
Vegeta is right here. He is always watching. But in that movie, all of the Saiyans joined hands together, and they transferred their energy to Goku in like a sacred ritual to help him surpass the normal Super Saiyan and like ascend into like the Super Saiyan God transformation. And essentially, like, it's obviously not like going to like godly levels or anything like that, but it's like everybody's sitting there and just focusing that energy and just sending it our way. That's kind of what it feels like. It feels, I don't know. It's just, it's weird because I've never felt that like in that way before, I don't know.
I was just busting my balls.
I know you were just busting my balls. That's what you do. Of course.
I do think that there's a lot of there's definitely something to the optimism and the can-do attitude of the space. There's a lot of spaces that are very despondent right now, you know. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand there's plenty of things going on that are scary and you know, don't look like they're necessarily going to end without some further ugliness in the world. But I think that people are, at least a lot of people in the Iron Age movement, and certainly here with our little pocket, our little corner of it, have been much more optimistic about what they can do, and they're focusing on, you know, the things that they could do. You know, there's a lot of things out there. It's like, you know, are we going to have World War III? It's like, what am I going to do about it? Nothing, you know? So I'm just going to keep on grinding. And I think that's the attitude that we've got to have, because at the end of the day, you know, that's what's going to, I think, make 2023 a good year for the Iron Age. And even if it doesn't, if it's not the spark that catches this year, it's going to be the groundwork that's laid that really is the springboard for the next, or whatever, you know. I'm optimistic.
Yeah. Black Knight, what do you think?
What can I say? You probably know that some of my most prominent characters in the Starshatter universe, at least from the Terran point of view, are the morale officers. It's for a reason. Because you can't, I mean, of course, you have a lot of negativity in the world. It's like disasters, war, the plagues, everything. It's like if you just focus on that part of life, everything will seem to be negative all the time, which is untrue. Because we all know it's untrue. There are plenty of hopeful figures and events, and good prevails over evil every day.
Yeah,
that's the balance of the universe.
I don't disagree at all. I don't disagree at all. Daniel, what are your thoughts? How do you feel? How do you feel about the gathering? The gathering of the forces, as I will call it. It seems, because that's what it seems this is. How do you feel about it?
That's how it works. To be totally honest, it's always going to be a networking game when it comes to building an audience. For example, Royce, or building more content on Iron Age Media. And for me, I just help people. And that's how I network, and in turn they help me. And like Black Knight was saying, he wrote, made some mistakes, and met some people that helped him and taught him and guided him along to getting better, and grew a community from that. So every year for us is going to be a wheel spinning faster and faster, as long as we stick to this I guess ethos would be, to use a huge word, even though it's only a few syllables, of the Iron Age. As long as we stick to the Iron Age mentality and what we've created up to this point, and just keep building on it, eventually it's going to be a castle that nobody can knock down.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
No, exactly. And Black Knight, I did get your DM. I will share that image very, very soon. One of the things that I was thinking about, and because I do want to get to Black Knight, his motivations for writing Starshatter, how he came up with it, because I read the and I am not a writer, but I read the note in the front part of the book, and I don't, there's a word for that. And I read that, and I'm going to read that to you. The forward. Thank you. I'm an idiot, ladies and gentlemen. I drink beer on the internet and I surround myself with intelligent people to make myself seem more intelligent. That's the ploy. That's hey guys, I'm going to drink beer and I'm going to let really smart people talk around me so that way I can seem like also I drink beer, guys. I'm a freaking redneck. But before I read the forward,
I'll always be there for you, right?
But before I read the forward of Starshatter, one thing that I was something that Richard said when he was talking about it, he goes, World War III may happen, but what can I do about it? And I was listening to some political pundits that I listened to, and I won't name them necessarily here, a while back, but they're like, you know what? The Civil War or World War III may happen. But by the grace of God, we will make it through it. And what do we have after that happens? And it's a scary thought. World War III, the Civil War in America, potentially all this crazy stuff that's happening in the world. And I think about it and I go, well, wait, we could be building that. We could be working on that. People are going to need something to get them through the hard times. People are going to need something to, after those crazy times are over, to have, to hold, to read, to share with their children. And I think we could be those people. I don't know. Maybe that's a little too grandiose to say, but maybe we could be a part of those people that are doing that. Because there will be life after World War III. There will be life after, the
Midterms.
American Civil War. The return. Right? There will be life after that.
Civil War II, Civil Harder.
Civil Harder.
Civil with a vengeance.
Civil with a vengeance. Oh, I love the Die Hard references. Richard,
I was going to make a serious
judge me.
point.
I know your judgment smile at this point.
And then I was also torn about making a Civil War Electric Boogaloo joke, but anyway. No, but I think that one of the things that I've seen play out in the past couple of years is that people are attracted, it's easy to get people into negative movements where they're like driven by anger and hate and everything else. But those don't really have the same kind of legs. They have to constantly be fed and they eat themselves over time. Yeah. And where you see progress and the kind of people you want to be around, and eventually, the people who are successful, not just for like a couple of months or a year or two, but in the long term, they have positive visions of the future, and I think that, more people like Daniel and there we go. And that one was terrible. But anyway,
I'm sorry.
And Black Knight are producing new stories that are, giving something more positive and, just something enjoyable to be a part of.
Yeah.
Yes. Fun is important, guys.
It is.
It's really important because just like we mentioned before, there's this constant negativity we are bombarded with, and many of us know or maybe just assume that it's on purpose. This is done to demoralize us and keep us docile and just doing nothing, just laying on our backs and letting certain people, quote unquote people, ruin the future of everything and everyone. But it's not going to happen because just like I wrote in my, I think it was the 6th one, all bad things must come to an end.
I like it.
And it's always fiery, sticky end.
You may not be wrong there. You may not be wrong. I like that. All bad things must come to an end. I like no, and you know what? And I think that's some God, that's great. So to get to
Wait till you read it.
What?
Well, wait till you read.
I need to. I've been so lazy on my reading for the last like 3. It's almost going on a month now. I've been so lazy with my reading, and I got sick, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna read." And then like the first day I was sick, I didn't read. I just sat there and played video games because I was zombieing out, and I was just like, "Boy, I really don't feel good." It's like, why don't I feel good? Hey, baby, will you take my temperature? 102, and I was like, "Oh, that's why I don't feel good." Yeah, I hit 100 and I was like hit 103.1 or 103.2 before it was over. That was brutal. And so I didn't read, needless to say, I didn't read. And I put on low brainwave activity, like watching game streams. And like when I was like, I can't, I don't know what's up. My energy levels haven't come back. Have you guys ever had that where you get like sick for like a week and then like 2 or 3 weeks later, your energy levels still aren't back? Like, I don't know if I'm just noticing it this time or like, but man, it just feels weird. But anyway, enough about me. And when I had Black Knight on, I knew I had to read this. And Black Knight, I will preface this and say this, because I am going to follow up with somewhat of a personal question. But this is in the foreword of your book. And if the question is too personal, you do not have to answer it, okay? I want to preface this, okay? Because I feel that this is important. But I read this and this hit me. And I still think of the first line. There's a couple of songs I listen to, and I'll send them to my brother. There's some backstory there. But I think of this first line often when I send some songs to my brother. But here's the foreword of the first Starshatter book, and for those who don't know. It says, "Brother, this is for you. This book was made possible by the efforts and tireless work of not only me, but my skillful editor, Indigo Altaria, and my talented illustrator, Neutron Boar. Thanks to my family and friends for all of the support they've offered and their trust in my humble writing skills. There is hope for the future of humanity yet. Brother, this is for you." Can you fill me in on that?
Well,
if you want to.
I can say that if it wasn't for my little brother's help, I probably wouldn't be able to do what I did in the beginning. He helped me a lot, and he encouraged me, and he was with me when I had trouble. And it's precious to me. It's very important. So
nope, I understand.
I dedicated the first book to him because of that.
No, and I know that was a little bit of a deep question, but we started off last week's episode with JVP Music talking about the familial bonds and the things that drive us, and that sticks with me a lot, talking about family and how they inspire us to do the things that we do, and building from who we were the day before to, well, the day that we live in now. And that goes from my parents to my children to my wife and my brothers and my sisters. And when I read that line, I wanted to ask that. And this fantastic world that you have created. You started off in the first Starshatter series with introducing individual characters every single chapter. And I admittedly am still only on the second chapter because I have been lazy, and I do apologize. However, I have been a part of many conversations where you've talked about your novels. And I wanted to ask, why start off in this series doing a book that's individual chapters that not knowing how far this would go, right? Like you're writing the book, and every chapter is a chapter about a different character that will eventually culminate in the characters getting together and going on a grand adventure. Why start there with all of the characters being separate? Many people may start with all of them together and kind of knowing each other, but you chose to do something very different here. I mean, I think it works from what I've read.
Oh, yes.
So why do that?
I will share a secret with you all.
Secret time. Shh, everybody, don't share the secret.
It's well, I think that eventually a lot of my readers figured it out by themselves, but I will say that originally, when I first wrote the drafts in the beginning, as I said, it wasn't my intention to write 10 books, but it was supposed to be 3. And it's just like you just said, just mentioned, it's the first book, the intro book, didn't exist. I had the backstories written, drafted, and I actually started with the second book. The second book was the first book. But
interesting.
But
good sir.
After
you lied to me.
But after
Only a little
I consulted with an old critic, she was very insightful, and I gave her a lot of the notes and explained the scope of the universe. And she said, like, no, you're screwing up. This is a mistake. This is an error. You have to change this. And I'm like, but how? And she told me, like, you must figure it out and make it so that there is an introduction for all of these characters before the story even begins. It's like, and I'm like, how should I do it? She's like, you have to figure it out yourself. And she was 120% correct.
Just too much all at once?
No. It's I learned from her and others that you have to space it out. You have to partition everything. And as we know, world building is quite important, especially for like a big space opera series or fantasy series or whatnot. But too much of it in the first book, where you have all like the main story flowing and the everything, it just wasn't it wasn't good. So in this way, I achieved a couple of other goals, which I also said before myself, and that was to make sure that both characters and villains have great character growth and development. And by having this intro book, I was then able to add more and more like polish and flesh out the villains just as well as the heroes. And for those who actually got to, let's say, book 3, they saw that. They already saw it. And it took me a few years of planning to do that. And of course I did plenty of errors, but mistakes, but I corrected them because I invested more than enough time to plan the stuff, and of course do some extra research. And it might sound like, it might feel to some of you that this was too much time invested in this, but I'm happy I did it.
So how? Let's see here. So you're up to 10 books now, right? For just the Starshatter series?
Yeah.
Okay. And let's see here. The first one, when was the first one published? That was obviously a couple of years ago, but I don't remember offhand when that was.
It's 2018.
Okay. So coming up on, 4, almost 5 years ago. How, that's frankly, that's just a lot of words. How many do you have any idea how many words you're up to on this whole series now?
On the whole series, I'm not sure, but I think with each book, the drafts became larger and larger, and I had to reshuffle certain things. I had to exclude stuff. I also made sure to include glossary starting from the second book with the basics in it, so that the readers wouldn't have to go back and what was that character's let's say eye color or whatever. So I did a lot of polishing. I can tell you that the first book is probably the shortest book. It's about 90,000 words, I think.
I was gonna say, so you got to be coming up on 1 million words on this thing. That's
probably
a lot.
More.
So
probably more.
So yeah. So you're right around there. How in terms of this is kind of like a mechanics question. How have you maintained that productivity and whatnot over the past couple of years? Did you have a lot of this before, or this is all pretty much new?
Well, I had the drafts and a lot of notes, and having the drafts helps quite a lot because I spaced out the work, and I did that before I actually translated the drafts and then began writing in English. And before that, I had to teach myself to write in English, which wasn't easy. And as you all know, English is my third language. I'm still kind of green writing in English, but it's been hard, and of course during the last few years I had long writing sessions, sometimes 12, 15, 17 hours even, and I kind of shut everything down and listened to some music and kept writing until I felt really, really, really hungry or thirsty. but usually what people, when people ask me this, and it's like, oh, how did you do it? Well, I just kept writing it. So it's
Just
just
kept grinding away.
kept
For
grinding
lack of
away.
a better term, you just did it.
Yep.
Yep.
And of course, I had to go back and fix the errors and all that other stuff. And that the indie authors, especially self-taught guys like me, we don't have, at least back in the day, I didn't have access to like a broader community or friends who knew English well, who could help me with proofreading and editing. So I had to do everything by myself. And sometimes I kind of edit the right ways wrong, and vice versa. I have to admit that. It's like, that's
Awesome.
I don't shy away from my failures. I embrace them.
Well, I think that's good, and that's definitely something that I've seen. It's something that at least I try to encourage people with the, whatever you want to call the. I mean, I hate to describe something as Iron Age whenever you've been doing it for years before that term was even coined. You know what I mean? But I do think that that's kind of the growing attitude that is going to like push us into the future, is just getting it done and learning and fixing and growing in public. And I think that there's a lot of value to that.
And I will I will say this, because I've gone back, and obviously the Iron Age was absolutely the Iron Age kind of came into the zeitgeist after Razor Fist kind of coined it. But he did talk about people who have been out there for a long time, or people who have been out there just doing it and making it happen and just hammering it out, as he kind of phrased it. And although the Iron Age is kind of a new term, I think that the reason that it fits so elegantly into this feeling in this movement is because people went, wait, yeah, I've been doing that thing. He was talking about me when he coined the Iron Age, because he wasn't just talking about new writers, new artists. He was talking about people that have been going after it. And he kind of finally kind of swelled to a point where whatever this movement was drew the attention of somebody who said the Iron Age, and they coined that term around a movement that was pre-existing. And so although the Iron Age might be a new term, it was coined around passion and projects and this movement that had already been there. At least that's how I've always read it. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I think that's true.
Yeah, I feel it was. It's probably how I'll describe it as just culmination of many little waves combining into a big tsunami, which is still rising. It's like it's getting taller.
Yes.
It didn't just appear like a rogue wave, like those rogue waves we talk about, sinking ships in the Bermuda Triangle. It's just, some people may have seen a few waves here, others may have seen like a few waves somewhere else, but until now, nobody had actually witnessed the full extent of the tsunami. So some people are now just rolling their eyes and like, where did this giant wave popped up? Like, how did it how did it grow so big, so tall? Well, kind of these things kind of happen slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we were talking about this a few weeks ago when it came to like overnight success, right?
No such thing.
About individual authors. And it's like, oh, well, this guy just all of a sudden just popped up out of nowhere. Well, no, he wrote 24 novels. And then after his 24th novel, he'd garnered and he crafted and built what he was doing. And then bam, people started paying attention. Can I use that analogy here for like the Iron Age? Because it wasn't an overnight just bam, here's this new wave of people. Again, whatever this was grew to a point where an idiot like me ended up taking notice and going, there's something here. And there's something strong here. It wasn't an overnight just coining of a term. The coining of the term might have galvanized a few people and said, yeah, that's the thing that we're doing. But they were already doing it. Mm-hmm. It started small and it grew to a point where it's not this overnight term. And I think that's the biggest difference here between this and maybe some movements of the past. This has been building for a long time.
Yeah.
Most everything.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Richard.
I was going to say, and this is the story of, this is the story of everything. But if you don't mind, I actually have a very specific question for Black Knight about some of his inspiration behind the series. Kind of taking it away from the Iron Age necessarily, but I have not finished Starshatter, but I got about 3/4 of the way through it. And one of the things that immediately struck me about it, especially just even using the term uplift, was that it reminded me of what would you say? A different take on some of the things that like David Brin had proposed. Did his work influence yours?
I read this the series about the uplifted dolphins. If you remember, and the chimpanzees but as far as inspiration goes, the angle is different, of course.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's not as much as that. Yeah, we need to use this process to create new laborers or to create like a soldier race or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like no. This is how the aliens, like the galactic community, the elder races are looking at this, and this is how they're using this technology, this process. They just create new races, not because they want friends or they want companions. They just want a different kind of a specialized slave.
Yes.
So yeah, this is probably how you can best encapsulate this usage of the term and the process, the technology itself in my series.
Yeah, because I remember, I don't remember how long ago I read Brightness Reef or whatever the first one in the David Brin series is. And I read a couple of them and I enjoyed them, but I feel like your book, at least so far, has been, I don't really want to say like a more lighthearted take on it, but it's a little bit of a less, I don't know. It's a more fun take in some regards. I feel like, not that everything is ice cream and roses all the time or anything like that, but
oh no,
no. I don't know, and I also think that David Brin as a writer is sometimes just a little bit slower moving, for my tastes. But I was just curious about how those interfaced, and I obviously with the from what I've seen you talk about with the antagonists, basically that definitely plays a major part in that regard. So
It's
I'm curious about that.
what I can say is that uh, I'll first I'll mention that this is the intro. This is the introduction. You will see that every bit of world building which is presented in the book, and especially world building which is from a certain point of view, from the point of view of different characters, because this is the way I like to do it, because this is it's their point of view. It's they can't have all of them. They can't have the exactly one and the same point of view. It's impossible. So the uplifted creatures, the uplifted races, which Terrans gave sentience, they, in most cases, they're not asked to do certain things. They are not even encouraged to do these things, but they do them. I mean, let's say they choose to fight somewhere, or they choose to help in other ways. They do it because they were given the exact same freedom to choose, and they respect that. By giving them sentience in this way, they have earned their respect. Like the humans have earned their respect, and it's all about respect. And they are not. It's like, why would they don't even think of exploiting them in any way, because that would be counterproductive. And humans, they know that they are, the doom may come anytime. Their doom may come anytime. After you read a certain chapter in the first book, you will see why. And it changed them on a deep psychological level, changed them greatly, and they have other priorities. Of course, they want to enjoy life like all people. They want good, nice food. They want to have fun. They want to be together with their families, with their friends. They want to visit interesting places, have adventures, etc., etc. But there is always that thought, which sometimes keeps them awake at night, which is, if I don't live to the fullest now, I may regret it, because tomorrow everything might end. If any of these older galactic civilizations, if they actually knew what was happening in the Terran space, what the humans and collectively all Terrans were doing, they would just send some armada and wipe them out. One of the things which keeps the Terrans alive is a certain ally of theirs. And reading further, you will see why. But if things get past the bureaucratic bog, which is which is kind of slowing down things, and is actually good for the humans. If someone pushes past the red tape, they will actually act and everything will end. So you can't just like it, I mean, I wrote about it in the books itself.
Mhm.
Themselves. It's like you can't waste you can't waste time.
Mhm.
You just can't. It's too precious.
No, and that's not a lie at all.
Agreed.
That and you talk about wasting time. Don't waste time, and then motivation, and those things seem to go hand in hand with each other. And I mean, you have the mentality to write 10 books as quickly as you have, and to edit them and to keep pushing forward. And you definitely know who Black Knight is by reading. I mean, within the first few pages of the first Starshatter, you start to understand who Black Knight is. And you start to understand how much he's pouring into what he's doing. I was actually I was talking with him. I believe it was on my Thanksgiving, which was the Saturday after I was smoking a turkey, and we were talking on Gilded, and I was talking about the scene with him. I think it was that day, and I was like, "Were you referencing Rambo here?" I was like, it just reminded me of this, and he goes, "I'm glad you caught that." And I was like, "Wait," and like I said, so when you were writing this, did you realize that you were putting as much of you into the story, and that much of you would come across to the readers? Did you realize that when you were writing?
Yes.
Oh,
I
wow.
I I was taught to originally in my school years. I was taught to write by investing every relevant emotion, which um, is not actually. Let's put it this way: everything within you which is necessary for your reader to feel the scene, um, you have to give.
That seems like that seems like it'll leave you open, especially.
No.
I mean, well, let me
Mm.
not open in a bad way, but especially when writing, and many people are not used to this, but writing that way and putting that much in, and being that open, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, right? That seems like, and I just don't think the world operates this way, but it seems like that would definitely fatigue you. That would definitely be tiring to write that openly. No, okay, Daniel disagrees. And the only reason is because the world seems to just be different. And this is probably what brought us together, is that although I'm different, apparently I'm different like you guys. But okay, is that being that open emotionally, spiritually, and mentally and intelligently in your writings, is that fatiguing? And Black Knight, the original question was for you, but I do see that Daniel disagrees with me, so I'd like to pass it to him for a moment, and then get your
No,
thoughts on that.
I actually prefer, since it's Black Knight's interview, let
Okay.
him answer first. I'll go next.
Okay, Black Knight, is it fatiguing to be emotionally open and intelligently open and all of that in your
It
writings?
is. It is,
It
but
is.
um, it's worth it because when you receive the feedback I've been getting from my readers, it's 100% worth it. They all of the people I interact with, like with very few exceptions, which you can easily see through their facade that they are, it's like they are triggered by something they can't understand. Probably they haven't touched grass or something. I don't know what their problem is, but I mean, it's inevitable. But in general, the feedback is being just glorious, and it instantly restores every ounce of energy I've dedicated and invested into my writing. So it's worth it.
Well, that's a fantastic answer, Mr. Daniel P. Riley.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
What were your thoughts on what I was saying? What were your thoughts?
The reason I wavered at you was not so much that I disagreed, was that I don't think, at least how I interpreted your question, was, for lack of a better term, correct.
No, that's great. Yeah, no, I no.
When you mentioned fatigue, it sounded, at least to me, that it was more of a, does it leave you broken? Does it leave you in a negative space of some kind?
Oh,
and
okay.
Yes,
I
can certainly see that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that was a phrasing thing on my part. Then I apologize, but I like where you're going with this. Although I think there was a misunderstanding there. I would keep going, please, because
I probably will answer both sides of the question with my idea on it. So as far as fatigue goes, sure, when you're writing hard, you're going to feel a emotional as well as physical drain. Like, I'm sure Black Knight can attest to that. Like you said, after eventually you have to come for air to eat or drink or sleep. But so there is a fatigue aspect to it, but I don't feel like being open in your writing will cause an emotional fatigue, which was the point that I originally thought you were making.
No, and I okay, so I kind of was, and because it came from a place that there seems to be, especially in the online world, that's definitely become popular over the last 15 years. There seems to be almost a dishonesty with some of the emotion that many people share online. And I am now talking with people and engaging with people, such as yourselves, who are writing these books, who are engaging in honest, open emotion in your writing.
Mm-hmm.
And being a dishonestly emotion, which all of us have, seems to leave you with somewhat more, obviously it's a lie, but those people, and obviously I think all of us have done it at some point in time in our life, being dishonestly emotionally open, where we're just faking emotion or feigning emotion or things like that. And you guys are writing in an honest way. And what I wanted to get at is, because I've done it in my own life, and I think all of us have done it in our own lives. When we are truly emotionally honest, and maybe it's because many of us haven't built that muscle up to deal with that.
That's where I was going to go.
It just seems to take your legs out from under you. Okay, so that's okay. So continue with what you were going with.
So to use a simple analogy, which is going Jim Bro for a moment, you build muscle through a form of straining. You're pushing your body to go beyond what its current capability is, just enough to spur growth. When you're lifting weights, for example. When it comes to emotional writing, and without emotional writing, I don't think an author can connect with an audience at all. I don't think it's possible. We've seen books that you read and are just like, dear God, what did I suffer through? And it's because it feels disingenuous. It feels boring because there's no resonance behind it. And you can tell that the author was just trying to hit bullet points rather than tell a story.
Yeah.
But when you're writing with what I consider to be conviction, which is the passion of your actual inner personality, your morality, whatever you want to call it, you are exposing yourself. You are opening that door. But the more you do it, the stronger you get.
Sorry.
Yes.
The word.
Yes.
No, that's okay.
Yes, Daniel is right.
Really,
Yes,
I've written scenes in Tales of Halcyon, which you consistently. I did that in a year and a half, all 3 books, and wrote, edited, and then put out in a year and a half. Tales of Halcyon, G Sedai, especially because even though the overcurrent of G Sedai is violent battle, the undercurrent is very emotional. And to a certain extent, with some of the points in Legacy of Heroes, I wrote scenes where I had to actually type through the start of tears and then get to a point where I could stop so that I could have a moment to just sort of sit in the emotion that I had put into what I just wrote. And maybe it wasn't for everybody else, but I'd like to think that, as Black Knight said, your audience will come back and say, dude, that was a
You cut out there at the end. Your audience will what? Can you?
Hold on.
Well, oh.
He's leaving the fishbowl.
He's leaving the fishbowl.
Yes.
Oh no.
I unfortunately I can't really relate. I don't
Can you hear me?
What's the meme?
Yes.
Oh, there you are.
I can hear you. Hello.
Yeah,
You sound vastly more human.
died.
Yes. You do sound
For
more.
our benefit.
Yes.
So yeah, your audience will reach that point, at least in some way, and go, that was a really intense scene or a really cool scene. Even if they don't go, I cried at that point, and you're thinking in your head, well, I cried, why you? Still, it's going to resonate with the people that read the book because they can feel it. Go ahead, Richard.
Oh, I was just going to make a snarky, non-productive comment about,
Go for it.
as a coder and an engineer, I don't put any emotion into my work at all. I just suppress it until it becomes a mental illness.
I like to suppress my emotion and hope it becomes cancer one day because that would be more productive. But anyway,
what is that coder joke? Damn, I don't know if it was 99 errors in the code, 99 errors in the code, take one down. 8,675,000 errors in the code.
Yeah, that's true. I occasionally, that's not true. I'm sorry, I lied to you guys. I actually do occasionally feel quite a bit of rage whenever dealing with something.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking when you said that. I'm like, bullshit.
I want somebody just really quickly, for all those people out there. Screen cap Richard right now and give him the big red eyes. I want him to have the rage eyes.
I need it. It really is best in context if I'm beaming Royce directly.
Okay. Yeah, since he's aimed that way, he should use a laser beam.
He's just gonna get no. And so the emotional question the emotional question I ask is, you know, I feel like I said, I did the GarageBand thing for a long time. Music is something that I love, and when it comes to music, you, as much as I don't like to admit it, you do have to feel a lot when you're writing music, and that's part of the reason. Like, you know, I had a couple of good songs because there was a couple of songs that I felt very deeply. And all the ones that I felt very deeply seem whether it was a happy feeling, right, or a sad, like, retrospective feeling about like what my family was going through with drug addiction and things like that. But the songs that I felt deeply are the ones that seem to catch people's ear. And for me, it's really hard to do that all the time because I'm not that type of person. I like to think things through. I like to be, more logical, get down to the root of the math of the problem and go there. No, I'm not an engineer. I've been told I should be an engineer. I've also been told I should be a lawyer, which that tells me that I'm evil.
Say that might be an insult. Both of those might be an insult.
Well, and they might be. But the feeling deeply part was just something that just struck me in the conversation. And again, going to the musician side of me, I think that's something that I've noticed that it's why I can't really criticize too heavily, because like you can always nitpick. You can always say, you know what, I feel like this was a little bit different than the rest of the chapter, or so on and so forth. Because I can nitpick anything to hell and back. But one of the fantastic things that I've realized is in reading these authors that I have over here. I have the books that I also need to read. I need to get to them.
You need to do it.
I know. Okay, I suck. Okay, I drink beer on the internet.
You suck beer. Too much, maybe.
It's not the beer that gets in the way. It's not. It's my laziness. It's utterly. And especially with reading, it's my mental laziness, which is something I need to stop doing. But but with all these fantastic authors over here, one of the biggest things that I've noticed is the passion in the writing. Whether something was written expertly or not, the passion in the writing seems to jump off the page with the people who have sent me their books, or with the people who I've bought books from and said, because I've had some people, hey, I'd love to send you a book and you review it. And I'm like, I want to put my money where my mouth is. Don't send me a book. And so, but man, the passion that's just jumping off the page in all of these books, again, whether it's their first book, they have writing issues, they have spelling errors, you can feel that. And I think that's why I wanted to deviate to that conversation for just a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, the passionate writer will be able to connect with an audience, but the polish of practice is, when combined with that, is where you get those perfect storms. And that's where an author can kick off. And that's kind of the trap that a lot of us in the indie verse have fallen into, is that we write with passion, we make mistakes, but some of us don't correct them. We sort of roll along with them. And there could be any reason for that. I'm not going to get into specifics, but that if you're not perfecting your craft, you're not going to succeed at it in the long run. You could tread water, sure, but if you're not constantly trying to grow in writing, grow in making music, grow in learning how to not be a boomer on the internet,
Hey. Okay.
Then it's not going to go anywhere.
Really? Wow, you snuck that one in.
Hey, I went after everybody, not just you.
You're not.
Yeah, he's correct.
You're not incorrect.
I went after myself. Like I said, 2 weeks ago, One of my author friends reviewed G Sedai, and the first thing he said was, "You messed up the format, dude."
Oof.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've been
I
there,
did.
done that a couple of
Yeah.
times.
I didn't indent my paragraphs. Completely forgot to.
Oh.
It happened.
So, okay, Black
I
Knight,
saw
go.
a comment.
Or whoever's going. Sorry.
Someone's got.
Oh, I was
comments.
gonna say that I think Kira Simonov in the chat made a comment to Daniel about make sure that don't let perfection be the enemy of good. And I don't think necessarily
True.
we're saying that at all. It's all about
No.
iteration. You know, you've
Mhm.
got to get it and then either fix it or keep going. And,
So you can craft the perfect manuscript, but without passion, it's not going to grab people's
Sure.
attention. You can have the passion that builds an audience, but it's never going to cross the line to a greater, larger pool without that effort towards the perfect manuscript. I'm not saying you have to attain the perfect manuscript. You have to keep
you need the
growing.
balance. You need the balance. The balance is important.
Yeah. There's an intersection between the craft of writing and the passion of writing, and that's where you get those perfect storms. That's where you see, I mean, guys like Tolkien, C.S. Lewis. I mean, going back, I mean, one of my favorite books ever is Jack London's Call of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still feel that book to this day, and I've not picked it up in probably, I mean, almost 20 years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But I still remember that book, and there is an intersection between the craft and the passion, and those out there who can recognize that and not overly recognize it and overly, focus on it, because I feel that kind of ruins one or the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just to kind of have the guiding force to make sure that those two things come together eventually, that's when it hits. That's when it's going to go off. Daniel, I think you explained it expertly.
There's a service industry proverb, for lack of a better term, which is when it comes to anything in the service industry, there are three things that you can have. It can be cheap, it can be good, and it can be fast, but you can only have two.
Yep. You're describing let's say, a tank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It can have like a huge gun or a small
but
gun
it can't
and
be
huge
fast.
armor, but it can be fast. Like it, exactly.
Yes, and that you apply that to the concept of writing books, but not specifically cheap, good, and fast, but maybe polished manuscript, passion, and speed. Because you can't write a polished manuscript with passion and do it super fast.
Yeah,
it's not possible. You have to invest time and energy into it.
Exactly.
Royce is having a whole other conversation. I'm just watching him while we talk.
Yep, that's all. Okay, hold on. Since we've got a Royce intermission here, I wanted to ask, especially since you're overseas, what drink are you drinking?
If Mrs. is a drink with crazy, hold on one second. If Mrs. is a drink with crazy would love to say hi, she may.
Oh, please.
Yeah, well, you're here. You've distracted me from the conversation.
As is her right.
Hi.
As is her right. Yes.
Hello.
I hope you like the recipes I sent you.
Oh, Black Knight says he hopes you like the recipes he sent you.
I'll have to check. I had to turn off notifications for work because they kept coming.
Oh, yeah. No, she's been getting crazy notifications for a lot of stuff. So, yes.
I'll go check.
Yes. No, and I had to talk with her. No, sorry. So, Richard was asking a very important question about the drinks that we're drinking this evening. However, my lovely wife, and I'm weird. My lovely wife found this while she was out. And Okay,
There you
now
go.
She
Now-
found Nemo.
wait. No. Is this Dory?
This is Dory.
Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. In the moments where I earn brownie points, gentlemen, learn these moments. Okay? In the moments where I learn brownie points and we're snuggling or whatever, and we think of the stuff from when we were children, I always, I'll squeeze her, and I was like, and you shall be mine, and I shall call you my squishy, and you shall be my squishy. And that's why she got me the Dory, is because I will always do that, because she will always be my squishy.
A wholesome moment from Royce.
Yes.
I'm a pansy, I get it.
You better clip this, Trippy. You better
Clip
clip
it.
this.
Flip it. So, as we were saying,
As we were saying, what are you guys drinking tonight? I'm sorry, Richard, what were you saying?
I was saying, what is? I was curious what Black Knight is drinking, since we have no idea if he's drinking anything at all.
Lights, please.
I had a coffee before the stream, and since the stream starts at 4 a.m. in the morning for me,
Ooh. Oh Lord!
right now I'm drinking tea. One of my favorite brands, which I like to call the Golden Kettle tea, which is actually Golden Land Ceylon tea, but Golden Kettle sounds better somehow.
that's cool.
Oh, there you go.
And if you were to be, partaking in a more festive beverage, do you have one of choice?
If I would, I'd have maybe Polish beer or Czech beer. Definitely Czech beer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're saying Czech
Yeah.
beer, or
Yeah.
okay, I wasn't sure.
Yep.
See, over here in the States, we have chick beer, and that's just some kind of flavored, nonsense. And I didn't
It's-
think that was your style so much. But
This is
No.
this-
Dude, the Czech I've heard about.
Czech
I've
beer
not had
is-
any, but I've heard
It's,
about
it's
Czech
probably one of the best beers in Europe, just like German beer and beer from Belgium.
Mm. I've had
yes,
Belgian
beer
style.
I have had.
I've had Belgian style, not just like the popular ones. I've actually the small microbreweries that actually try to get a little closer to it. Oh, I'm an ale guy. Just give me a regular, just straight. Not a lot of places do regular ales. It's believe it, they're always doing some version of a flavored ale or this, that, and the other thing, and then but just a regular, fantastically brewed ale, and man, they are hard to find because they're always trying to do something, but they are fantastic when you get just a full-bodied, regular, just beer goodness ale. Ugh,
You can see that Royce is passionate about beer.
I like
By the way, I while we are still on the subject of beer, I have to mention that I made sure that in my books I wrote quite a lot about different foods and drink. And if you get to that part, you'll see what especially the Terran Space bikers love to do. They like to brew craft beer, and also they like to make mead. So one of the characters, by the way, who's called Mac, he eventually brews his own beer, craft beer, and it's called Caron Roots beer, and it has an awesome hollow sticker on it, which most of the drinks and energy drinks and everything which is sold in this universe, they have this hollow stickers / labels, and when you look at them from a certain angle, if you have light, proper light, you will see small hollow of the label of the beer or the drink, whatnot, and it needs light. I'll just say it needs light, but you have a moving, like animated label on the drinks, and this
Very
one
cool.
is one of the special trees which you already read about, the mumpa trees.
Oh yeah,
With
yeah,
the-
yeah. Mhm. Yep.
with the roots, and
Yep.
the roots are kind of like bloody and moving because the tree is also moving. It's I don't want to spoil anymore.
No,
This
no.
is all I'm going to say.
I love that you thought of these smaller things in the world.
All the small
food.
things make the world.
Well, it does. It does. And many people don't realize that. Many people think it's just many people do think it's just the characters and the plot. And a lot of stories can. But for me, I love those little details.
Wait till you read about their downtime and what they do, and the places they visit. They have, especially their family gatherings, and this is one of the things which I was quote unquote critiqued about. I wrote some of my characters, they actually have families and children, and apparently that's no longer relevant. It's a big no.
No, not in my world.
I just shrugged and kept writing. Just leave them behind. They can stay behind you and keep and stay triggered. You just keep working, keep grinding.
Well,
You know what?
I was going to say, now, in the books, I know.
I will be right back.
I was going to say what now?
I will be right back, everybody.
Okay. So, as far as the family goes, with the non-human characters, how did you make some of those aspects work out? Some of the other social life? Did you go primarily with, kind of established biology, or did you play more with extrapolating things out?
That's a great question. Well, I started from the biology, and I extrapolated, and then I added the cultural influences in the mix. Let's say, if you ask me about the gorillas, the uplifted gorillas, you know that in nature they have this quite similar to what the lions have. Like, you have a dominant alpha male, and he has a harem, and he breeds with a lot of female gorillas. But after the uplift, they couldn't actually keep with this. It was no longer viable. They have some, let's say, groups, very small groups of gorillas which remain in the Congo, in Africa, which they still kind of follow this uh, old way of things, but they're growing like they're growing smaller by the year. And it also depends on the cultural influences in the local areas where they grew up. Let's say a gorilla growing up let's say this Russia, in the Siberian part of Russia, they will have like a bit different look on things, and they will be influenced by not only their own um, the core gorilla culture, but also the host culture where they were born actually there. And so you have like things like, let's say, the baking, which is one of the core parts of them. And they are naturally good with this. This is they feel that this is the eternal link between them and nature, which they came from, like a growing like it is with the bunnies, for example, with them growing vegetables. And this is not me going into, let's say, oh, they eat only vegetables and this and that, and it's like they're walking around with carrots in their mouth or something like that. Even though they make carrot whiskey, which is patently vile for anyone,
That does not sound good. No.
but they love it. They love it. But let's say the gorillas, they have like some traditions which evolved from this link with their nature, with the nature, and these will be universal for all of them. But like I mentioned earlier, it's gonna be really important where they were actually born. Would it be Japan? Would it be Russia? Would it be the Americas or whatnot? It's different. Yes, and Kikuman, not only bread but barbecue too.
Oh, barbecue.
There you go.
Yes, barbecue.
One of these
And
days.
the main character, her family has a restaurant on Mars, terraform Mars, which she, in her downtime, she always goes back to see her family, and then they always, quote unquote, exploit her, and they send her to bake some bread, um, or just knead the dough or do something which she's been doing since like she was little. And it's a family ritual, which almost all gorillas are they just can't see themselves not doing it. It's impossible.
And this gets into the feeling thing of it, but the food. You talk about the food of the different races, and you've talked about the food of the different races in your book with me and in the chat. And food is something very personal. And why not the focus on the food, but why the detail of the food that your characters and your different races love to cook and eat? What because you've talked about it with me and especially in the Gilded chat, and why the food? What made that important to you to talk about the food and the culinary tastes that these different characters have?
Because first, food is life. You need to have food to live. Without food, you're going to die in excruciating pain.
Yeah, that you're
Second, because food is community. It binds people together. And third, because food brings happiness um, and sharing knowledge about different foods, spices, etc., ingredients. It brings different cultures together. It helps it helps all of these peoples like find cohesion, cultural cohesion, without wiping out their own differences. They share their differences, they acknowledge them, but well, they may improve upon their own ways. And we know that from our own world. It's like let's say let's mention the Silk Road, which was
yeah.
highly
Yeah.
important, and it wasn't just for silk. A lot of spices and recipes traveled across the continents. It's this is, like I said, the easiest and probably most um, the best way to bring people together is food.
I don't
Agreed.
think you're wrong at all. I don't.
Awesome.
I don't think you're wrong at all. And that I mean, I experienced that in my life. One of, I mean, my favorite thing to do, and it is, and in the summertime, the schedule on the channel here may change a little bit, but my favorite thing to do is to cook food for people and have people over at the house. It would be as no, I love it. I mean, and like I and my wife and I were always talking about cooking and having people over and and just sharing that with people. And even though as hard as times are getting for many places around the world, but one of the things that I've always loved, and one of the things that my wife and I love, is finding food from around the world that we can cook. And I always tell my wife this: if you ever want to know how to cook good food from any part of the world, find an old grandma online.
Yep.
Right? And make sure, and if it's from a part of the world that doesn't share the English language, make sure that there's captions, because if she's speaking American, it's no. Find a grandma from a part of the world that you don't even understand the video, but and believe it or not, my wife does, and she kills it. But I'm not a well-traveled person. I can't say that I ever will be. Maybe one day I will be. I'm not a well-traveled person, but the internet has a way of sharing the food and the cultures and the passion of that food, and I think you're 100% correct. I mean, if I could, one of these days, and I pray that this will happen. I pray that as this grows and as it becomes bigger, and I will be able to fly all of the people out to my small corner of the world, and I will be able to barbecue and smoke the meats and pull fresh vegetables out of my garden, and my wife and I will be able to prepare the foods not only that we love, but the foods that everybody has shared with us, with everyone. And
I look forward to coming over for dinner, man. I thank you for inviting me.
Dude, I do an awesome smoked lamb leg.
All right, tell me when.
I loved smoked lamb. It is
Royce,
one of my. What?
if you were a human in Starshatter, most certainly a family of gorillas would adopt you instantly, just because of your skill with barbecue.
I love. Man, there's something my wife and I, and we've had to build a new community in our new state that we live in. But before we moved, during the summer, I mean, we'd had a community of people, and we'd send out a text message on like Friday night and say, be like, on Saturday, hey, what are you guys doing this weekend? Oh, well, we're not doing much. Well, we were planning on and my wife and I would just come up with this list of stuff. I mean, just the list of things. And we never do typical barbecue like burgers and hot dogs. No, my wife and I would always push ourselves. My wife would cook like fantastic gumbos, and I'd get out there and I would do like a smoked like pulled pork, like a pulled pork butt, and we were always pushing ourselves to share. And now we're, I was looking at, I had mentioned a while back on, I think one of my Sunday streams, somebody had sent in a super chat, and it was Peruvian money. And I was like, oh, one of my best friends growing up, his mom was from Peru. And there was this recipe that she made that I loved when I was a kid, and he found it and sent it to me on my Gilded. It's called arroz tapado. And it is essentially a rice. You take rice and you form it in the form of patties with meat and vegetables in the middle with a medley of other things. And it is, I loved it as a kid. And I shared it with my wife, and my wife went out the next day and she couldn't find all of but she has all of the stuff waiting. And although I'm not a well-traveled person, the one thing that the internet has given us is the ability to experience the flavors of the world. And it's awesome because I don't love just eating the run-of-the-mill just American food all the time. My dad grew up with a lot of Italians and a lot of Mexicans. And then my dad, being a truck driver, drove all around the US, and so he learned how to cook from people that he just talked to once or twice in Texas, and cooked fantastic barbecue in Louisiana. And I learned how to cook gumbo from my dad. My dad taught me how to do an actual roux. And if you guys don't know how to do an actual roux, but food,
it's an effort.
Doing a roux.
Oh yeah.
Doing an actual roux with the butter, and I mean, and you can burn it very easily.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to look. You have to stay there. You can't leave the stove.
No, you can't.
Nope.
And because it has to be hot. It can't be not hot. It has to be But I love that you're working in your novels to speak so many different languages to people. The language of food, the language of culture, and separating those cultures and identifying those cultures. How did you do the culture thing? How did you get... Yeah. Oh, yeah. You see how I did that? Yeah. Oh, well, I'm not drunk yet, ladies and gentlemen. But I might get there. Yeah.
Well, one of the things which I mentioned from an alien's point of view.
Good night, Judy Davis. Good night, Judy.
Good night, my friend. She's one of my oldest friends and readers and fans. So one of the things I wrote from the aliens' point of view is that they have lost this separation of cultures. They all, at some point, they kind of ruined their unique cultural identities, and they have a unique culture on their planets. Like almost all of their colonies are exactly the same because they kind of lost their uniqueness before they went into the stars and began to colonize the planets. And this is why, and I wrote about it in the books. This is why Earth became a huge tourist destination, because you don't visit Earth to just see one unique culture like it's on all alien planets. You go to Earth to see hundreds of cultures,
That's
and
an
it's
interesting take
everything
on
is
it.
different. Everything is different, and
So
they I mean, you had well, this
so
is an
the in the
alternate history.
gathering so in the
Yeah.
star system, if I may interject, because I want to understand and make sure that I'm understanding this correctly. So in the greater star system, the culture is, like you said, somewhat of a uniculture. But on Earth, it seems to be maintained that there are many different cultures living with each other still? Or am I
Yep. It's on
that
Earth. On Earth, you have all of the cultures which survive. They are preserved, and they keep preserving them. And when different peoples went out to colonize different planets, they kind of formed even more specific cultural identities. Let's say Mars, for example, or the lunar colony, which are the most, like, some of the most famous ones. But you have the outer colonies, which are, you could say that this is the Wild West, quote unquote, style of space western. Um, it is called space western, but in this case, it's let's say you have a group of Italians, and they colonized some tiny planet somewhere. They might continue doing exactly the same things that they have, like their songs. Let's say they're from Sicily, they have their songs, they have the traditional dresses, they have the traditional food, etc., etc. But with time, this will grow and change. They will preserve it, they will preserve the heritage, but they will grow the heritage. They will add new things. They will not wipe it out and abandon it, because if they wipe it out, if they abandon it for something else, then they are killing their past. And if you kill your past, how can you learn to build a better future? You can't have a future without your past.
That's awesome. You have put a ton of thought into your writing. And
When
that it is impressive.
I'm trying.
It really is. It's and whether that comes through in the writing. When I ask a question like, why is food important? You have an answer for that. When I ask a question, oh well, there's all the food, and I love food and all that. And that brings different cultures together. What about the culture? How did you do that? And you thought about that. And then not flippantly, but deeply. You deserve to be commended for that. And I believe that. I do. And it makes me happy to hear the passion that you have for this and what you've done. So I have to say it. I'm glad to have met you, and I am proud to say that you are our guest tonight.
Seconded.
I thank you, good sir.
I think I was going to say, there is a question I saw go by in chat that I wanted to ask, which is, speaking of lamb, are there sentient sheep in your universe?
No.
No. Okay.
Oh,
All right.
thank God.
I knew that
Oh,
question.
thank God. I didn't even think about that. Don't do that to me.
No,
No, chat.
Hey, chat did that to you.
No,
bunnies.
chat.
Let's say who somebody asked me I think 2 years ago was that
Iron Age.
why are bunnies eating meat? And I began with the biology of things, and it ended with a much simpler explanation. Um, it's just because their metabolism is so high after the uplift that they need the protein. Otherwise, their higher brain functions will not work well. They won't be able to remain sentient. If they stop eating meat, it will be a slow degradation back into animalism.
Interesting.
And the hamsters, the hamsters, especially the hamsters, they live a shorter life because, if you ever had a hamster, it's not a long-lived critter, and they may live compared to their ancient selves. They may live like a really long life, but compared to other races, they are very short-lived, and this translates into their psychology, of course, and culture. And hamster culture may look and seem ludicrous, maybe even insane, and dare I say, crazy. but
Hello.
but
Somebody say my name.
to them, it's entirely logical, and that's because it's natural. For example, we're coming back to that question about the uplift. And I mentioned that the older galactic races, they don't care. They don't give a flying fart. And they exploit the creatures they create because for them they're just genetically bioengineered flesh. But the humans didn't do that, and they know why they didn't do it. They they couldn't force themselves to do it, even though they were. Back in the day, some humans was like, let's bioengineer the gorillas to be like 10 feet tall and have like armored skin or something, and like be almost like the perfect soldier. But they didn't. So when the aliens first faced the hamsters in battle, because not all hamsters go to war, but when they need to, they of course they have to defend themselves. They wouldn't, or they have to defend their families, their friends, etc. So when the aliens, the older alien races faced hamsters for the first time, they automatically assumed that the hamsters are bioengineered soldiers, even though they aren't, because they're projecting their own way of thinking, their own way of doing things. That's what they would have done themselves if they had access to the hamsters. They would have created something like some disposable soldier race. And the hamsters, because of their nature, they kind of they have no fear of most things, because their life is really short, and they're kind of squishy. They're kind of squishy. Well, we're all squishy, but they're squishy.
I get you.
So the hamsters are like, ooh, and also there are a lot of hamsters. Like, it's
Well,
they kind of
yeah,
give birth
I
to
get
more
you.
hamsters. So it's okay. So when the hamsters they go into battle, they're not thinking of, ooh, I may die. No. they think of, wait, how many baddies can I efficiently dispose of before they get me? Why? Because the more baddies they dispose of, the safer others will be. Because said baddie, when disposed of, they will not oppress, invade, or kill others. So they and they have the part of their culture. They have a special organization, which is quite a huge thing. They have organized themselves, and that organization is called the Diggers Society. And they receive they have statisticians and all sorts of elderly hamsters there. I won't go into like super spoiler territory, but I will say that they receive information body counts from every hamster who ever went into battle, so they know how many baddies they killed.
Ooh. Interesting.
And this is why when hamsters go into battle, they count. And in most cases, they count on open comms. And if you might imagine, this does not go well with the morale of certain troops. And this is why the aliens. Another reason that the aliens think that hamsters are bioengineered super soldiers, even though they're kind of small and fluffy and squishy.
So, I want to continue that. However, I do want to get to the chat because I know there are people who have questions, and then we do have some super chats to catch up on. But I do also want to turn over. I feel like in some of our last episodes, we gave the chat a very short window to ask their questions and to talk with us and whatnot. And I would like to give them more. So how about Richard and Daniel? Do you two have any questions for Black Knight? And we'll go for about another, 5-ish minutes or so, give or take. And we can turn it over to the chat and let them ask Black Knight their questions, or just roast me for the rest of the evening. We'll see how the chat feels.
Careful,
Or barbecue.
you know what chat's gonna pick.
Don't barbecue. You just... So yeah, what would you guys like to ask Mr. Black
Well,
Knight?
I think honestly, I think I got everything that I was really curious about, mainly with David Bren and some of the other inspirations for things. But
that was a great
Daniel?
conversation.
You guys stole most of my questions, so let's give it to the chat.
Well, wait, I do have one question.
Oh,
which is how much farther do you see this series going? Is this something that you want to keep going with?
Well, I've already planned everything. And last year, I kind of tweaked the plan a bit, just a little bit, with the addition of that Conan-esque novella series about another character. After getting some inspiration from a certain person, whom I will not name. She knows who she is. But after this decalogy is complete, I have 2 trilogies, which they explore one of the earliest big wars which the Terrans have fought against different aliens, which is the Sirius War, which is in the Sirius system. And one of the trilogies, like the first trilogy, explores the events on the ground from a perspective of a weapons merchant, whom the Terrans, they don't call weapon merchants certain names or anything. They call them merchants of life, because having access to weaponry is literally saving their life. If they don't have these weapons, if they don't have the tanks, the ships, the cannons, and everything, they'll get, probably not probably, but almost 100% they will get invaded, killed, or worse, sold into slavery. And slavery here, it's something which, once you get processed, you're screwed. You will either get a telepathic wipe, and you'll become like a walking piece of flesh, or you'll get chipped, and then your mind you'll be locked inside of your mind while your body is being ordered to do all kind of horrible things, or you'll get just dumped somewhere to do some horrible menial tasks which will kill you faster than you can say something like some short word, whatever. But and the second trilogy is about another character who is this will explore the same war, but from the space part of the war. And then I have second decalogy, which I also have the drafts for, which is also set in the Starshatter universe, but during their version of the Second World War, which they call the Great War. And it deals with all kind of spicy stuff, like XCOM type of stuff. Aliens, cryptids, monsters, secret organizations, etc., etc. Like everything which they actually dealing with, the humanity actually find by dealing with all of this crap, they actually became a starfaring species. And the characters in this decalogy, there are fewer characters, but still, excuse me, it's going to be awesome. And after that, I have, I think, 30 plus other drafts for novellas.
Wow.
Shit.
And this year, like I think November, before that, I kind of went on a draft writing spree, and I wrote 10 small drafts for more novellas from the Velin, the Rifleman series. So I have things prepared. And yes, I will keep releasing short stories for my Patreon. And eventually all of these short stories will end in another anthology. And I plan on, if I'm able, like God willing, release one anthology per year with at least 10, maybe 11 stories in it. So yeah, that's the plan for the Starshatter series. Do you want me to tell you about my fantasy series?
Royce has muted himself again.
Muted again.
Sorry, my daughter was down here asking me questions. Yes,
that's good.
No, she was down here.
That's good.
Yes, I try to mute when the kids are on. YouTube doesn't like it when you get kids on the stream, especially when we have streams like this where there may be, cussing and things like that. Tonight we've actually been fairly clean, but yeah, YouTube gets a little funny with that. So I try to, when the kids come down, I try to keep them off camera. But yes, no, my daughter came down, and that's why I was muted. But But as far as your fantasy series goes, we may have to have you on when you launch that.
Yeah.
I would like to turn it.
I'd rather not talk too much about it.
I would like to turn it over to the chat, and they are asking many questions. And in fact, I have quite a few questions that I have saved. I'm very glad that StreamYard has the ability to save the questions. And so as I go here, I will try to catch the new questions that you're putting down. And just like what Maji Chan did, where she typed question and how she typed it and all that. But let's get over to some of the super chats. And you guys get, obviously, if you send in a super chat, we'll absolutely read that. And if you just type in question the way that Maji Chan did in the chat, we will make sure to read your questions. And so if I go back up here, okay, so Ram sent in $1 for a super chat and just sent in $1. Just tipped the bartenders $1 and got his drink and walked the hell out. Thank you so much, Ram. I appreciate you, good sir. And Kikomon for $5. And this was after he and Neutron Boar and my wife conspired. I had to go upstairs. I took a break. My wife got home. That's why I left after my wife got home. I went upstairs. I was like, how long did you know about this? And she goes, let me see. I'm like, really? So apparently the artwork that they sent in, that Neutron Boar and Kikomon have been conspiring, has been over a month long in production. That's insane.
Wow.
Really? Black Knight? Were you a conspirator as well? I see how it is. Kikomon for $5 says, now that my plans are executed, I can get shit-faced. Show me, show you. Kikomon, thanks Black Knight and Neutron Boar. That was a fun surprise. Hail Rose too. You've been outed. Haha. You've been outed, Black Knight.
Yes.
The Maji Chan, and going down into the chat, Maji Chan says, question, how did you come up with the tech used in the books?
Well,
yes.
Part of it was a helpful interaction with some of my friends back in the university when I was studying. Some of them were actually scientists. I mean, they were studying back then. But yes, so quite a lot of it came from the conversations we had. And we had a group which was the conspiracy theory group, and we actually read different books about conspiracy theorists and monsters and UFOs and stuff. And well, most of it we were joking around, but from these all of our theories and suggestions, a lot of actual stuff, like relevant stuff, came out. So based on this, I have created the mystery researchers and written about them in the books, in my books. And they are doing exactly that. They are not like what they're doing is not called fringe science, but actually they go where there is a legend about some mysterious monster in this lake, and they go there and they find the monster, or they go there and they find that it's not actually a monster, but it's let's say the tail of a long rotting airplane on the bottom of the lake, and when the waters like recede from far away, you can see the tail of the airplane. And about the rest of it, the rest of the technology, I did a lot of research, just like I mentioned in one of the articles I sent for publication on Iron Age media. I did a lot of research. I watched a lot of documentaries. I asked some of my friends to send me articles to read, so I knew I was, and I'm still trying to keep up to date with, let's say, some of the new military tech that certain governments or groups or corporations are releasing, so that it's more believable, and you can't say that the American Navy does not have railguns, because they do. It's well,
There's
they
yeah.
they released
I've-
they released that on the media, so we are
Yeah.
not talking about anything
There's-
else, like just
Yeah. Yeah, if you talk with You know what? Never mind. I'm not going to say
Never
that. But anyway.
Next question,
Sorry.
please.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get off that question because I was like, wait a
We got several stacking up here too.
Yeah. No. I'm starring all of those over here in the StreamYard chat. I have over 20 that are starred, and we've only gone through a few of them. And super chats. So Kikomon for $2 says, now is the age of the #1 Iron Age YouTube daddy. Oh, well, damn it. Oh, I'm not getting away from that. I'm not getting away from that. And that's when we were talking about, the Iron Age pushing forward and all that earlier on in tonight's episode. Kikomon for $5. It says Kikomon brand has been established in 1917, still struggling to fight the anti-soy sauce propaganda. May the soy sauce lubricate the Iron Age cogs. I love him so much. He's so great.
He's getting soy faced now.
Very.
There you go.
And a
Let's
few
see
more
the
from.
super chat start to get real interesting.
I know, it's great. And a few more from Kikomon. Kikomon for $5. Black Knight understands the horrors of collectivism and the value of freedom better than most. Yes, he does. I've had the conversations. You may respond to that or not, Black Knight. That's
We've talked about this.
We have. All right, Kikomon for another $5. Thank you so much, Kikomon. I hate saying it like that. It's just I'm trying to get to the rest of the chat. Thank you so much, Kikomon. I have to mention Starshatter book 1, 2, and 3 rate as double fermented shoyo on my Kiko scale. Double fermented. Ooh, good sir. Good sir. All right, Kira Simonov. Drink is crazy. I agree. It's nothing like the Drek that comes out of the mainstream media. And I hearted that one earlier when we were talking about the passion and the thoughtfulness and the emotion that you are putting into your stories. And that's when she sent that one. She or he, I'm so sorry. I read that in a... You know what? Anyway. But no, that
Moving
was
on.
sent... Yes. T.S. Ball for a Canadian $10. Drops $10 on the bar, tips his bartenders, and walks away. Thank you so much, good sir. I appreciate it. Thank you. And Kikomon for $2. Kikomon for all. I spread love through soy. Oh God. The imagery
Yes.
is.
That's borderline.
But that's good soy. That's good soy.
Yeah.
Oh. Kikomon for $2. This is a fantastic question. How many years of world building, Black Knight? How many years did you spend on the world building?
That's about 15 already.
Oh God! Wow.
Because I keep polishing it and improving it while I published the books. So yeah. It's about 15. With this year, the new year, it's going to be 16.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. That's. I mean, that takes dedication to say the least.
I see it as a natural thing. I don't think it's. I mean,
well, no, I mean, well, you know what? I guess that does make sense because when you say, well, it's been X amount of years, and then as the person writing it, you go, well, I mean, it's been a long time, but it was just I started and I just kept going, and honestly, I kind of there are moments I look back in my life, I'm like, well, I just kind of started doing this thing, I just kept, and now I've just been doing this thing for, well, I mean, not to say it so flippantly, but it's one of those things. It's like, well, I fell in love with my wife, and and we got together and we had children. And obviously, if you think about it, like my wife and I, we've been together for almost 12 and a half years. And
nice.
People go, wow, that's a really long time. And I think about it and I go, man, it doesn't feel like it though. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like I mean, it feels like 2 or 3 different people ago for me, because I feel like myself and my wife are very different people, but it doesn't feel like a lifetime.
It probably feels like
it does. And and sadly, that's the the theory of relativity that Einstein was getting into, is that the things that you enjoy dearly in life seem to go by that quickly.
I won't spoil it. You will read in the books.
Oh, all right. And back when we were talking about sharing food with everybody and what the gorillas make and what all of your races make, Isidro Lopez Irwin. God. Oh, it's starting, ladies and gentlemen. I have begun the slur. For $2. Says bacon.
Yes.
Oh,
I have used the line, everything is better with bacon. I did.
There you go.
You didn't make pigs sentient, right? They're not uplifted.
No.
Okay, good. Thank God. Oh.
You only uplifted animals that were not tasty, I hope.
I have heard rabbit is very tasty.
Okay, yeah.
Can confirm.
Yes.
I just think about, what is it from the Restaurant at the End of the Universe by Douglas Adams, where he has the, I forget what it is, but it's some kind of a cow creature that's sentient, but it's like desperately wants you to eat it. So it's like an ethical form of meat. So it like goes from table to table, slicing off parts of itself, convincing you that it wants to, how much it wants you to eat it.
It's Douglas Adams. It's British satire.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's its own strange thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's its own wonderful strange thing.
Asher Bruno, question. You said that if the various races do not eat meat, they will become animals again. I don't think you said if the various races did. I think he was specifically referring to the rabbits here. That's my own interjection. But Asher Bruno, does this mean that vegans will become beasts as well?
Well,
I mean, I think they already are, right?
Yeah.
I am not. I'm not, let's say, knowledgeable enough to talk about this. So I can only reply. I can only reply a question from like the Starshatter point of view. So no. Yeah. And you have like let's say certain civilizations who don't eat meat, and they eat other forms of protein. They eat, let's say, bioengineered protein, and some think that they are eating bioengineered protein, but they're eating actually other people.
What the fuck?
And they, yeah.
Okay,
there is something
deeper into the lore of these books.
There is something about the yarn and Vaughan species, and you will. I think you will like it. Ask Kikoman. Let's say that.
Okay.
He already read it. He read the third book, so he knows all about the yarn.
And speaking of Kikoman for $2, I have to mention so far I love the villains too.
Yes, this is that's the question that you asked me in the beginning of the stream about why I have this intro book. This is why.
Oh, excuse me. I apologize.
There's no excuse for you.
You're right. There's not. My wife has to deal with it every day. Oh,
Drink another beer.
I'm not done with this one,
Wait,
Well, that's a problem.
sir.
Get
how
good.
could you? How could you?
I said we've
People
crossed 10:30 and you're still
I
mostly
know.
articulate.
So I found out what happened last week. My wife, my wife being my lovely wife, she brought home a couple of fantastic craft brews for me, and it's something that I've trained myself to do, and I forgot to do it last week because I've gotten in trouble with this before. I didn't read the ABV on the beer before I started drinking them. And I'm just having a good time with the guys. We're having a great conversation. Oh, and this beer is fantastic. Smooth, subtle, sweet, a little bit of fruit flavor. Oh, it was really good. And I'm sitting there just drinking the beers, and all of a sudden I'm just like, wait a minute.
They're going down too easy.
I was like, well, no, it's not that they were going down too easy, because beer goes down easy for me. That's what you get after years of practice and potential alcoholism. But I was like, wait a minute. I know how much, I know how many beers I've had in liquid ounces. And that's not enough to get me to the point that I'm at now. Well, that's interesting. And then I did the after show with you guys. And that's when the real downhill. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who saw last week's episode, you did not see my downhill in the after show. I went from like mediocre, let's just say that's mediocre where I ended the show at, and I dropped off a cliff hard. I looked sheet white by the end of it, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this right now. I was like, hey guys,
You disappeared.
I was like, hey guys, I need to go to bed. I was like, guys, I can't. I gotta. And I was like, what? I woke up the next morning and I was like, I didn't have a hangover or anything, but I was like, what the hell happened? The beers were 7%, and I was pounding those things like they were Bud Lights. No, 7%'s not a lot.
Biker beer,
drink like
biker
me,
beer is 15%.
Okay, when you drink like me, which is like a fish, okay, 7% beers, and you're putting them down, like, yeah, that turns into a lot quite quickly. Because, anyway, we're not going to get into my alcoholism. Maji Chan has a question. Maji Chan says, when will I get my funny story of when the cats attacked the ship?
Well, you will get a version of this in the 7th book. There is a
the
chapter.
Cats. Wait, there are cats. I didn't know about the cats.
There is a chapter which is titled "The Hamster, the Cat, and the Starship." In this book.
Damn it! I have to read
And,
more. Okay. I need to stop being lazy.
It's not that the cats are attacking ship. There is a cat, and you know, the cat is named Snark, and the cat,
Yes!
the cat, and the hamster, they are
Snarf.
defending the ship.
Snarf. Sorry.
So, yes, complete with all of the hamster, the awesomeness, and his signature chuckle, and his battlefield jokes, and everything. Plus the cat, who, as you know, is highly intelligent. This I'm not going to spoil anymore. You'll have to read it.
All right. Fantastic.
Next question, please.
Let me find the next question. I am sorry. I'm going through all these questions that I have saved here. And the chat is moving, and I am attempting to keep up with it. Well, so I will share. I'll take a picture of this, and I will share this with all of you in the private chat, just so everybody sees what I see on my screen. And that doesn't actually include my locals chat over here, but this is just one screen. And so we will save that picture, and I will share this with you a little later. But yeah, I have a lot going on one screen. That doesn't include my second screen. I actually want to get a third monitor and put it up here so it can have the locals chat up as well. It's you'll see when I send it to you guys here in a few. All right. So next question from Skunk's Workshop. It says, Rangmar, what are your marketing goals? Sursova had to say about this subject that we need more conversation about the stories and the characters. Is there anything more we can do? That's kind of a two-part question there.
Well, I guess that back when I planned this, I didn't go to Twitter or Facebook or Reddit, let's say, because you know that they've become quite the toxic. Let's use one of the buzzwords. Quite the toxic places to be.
You're not wrong there.
And I instead chose Minds, and I was one of the first to join back in the day.
I joined many years ago and was very active on it a few years ago with a different account, which I've erased. And yeah, Minds was actually a really fun place to be for artists and creators a few years ago.
It still is to a certain extent, yes.
That's awesome.
And it helped me as an independent creator to be around other indies. And I do not believe that had I been to Twitter, let's say, or Facebook, I would have achieved what I have now. Maybe, well, surely I wouldn't have met all the people who supported me, and I most probably would have never met you guys. So it's and maybe I would have been canceled. Maybe I would have, like, my writings, my evil writings would have triggered some of let's say of the Twitter mobs, and they would have canceled me.
Having read again just a chapter and a half,
you haven't.
You may or may not be. You may or not be wrong there.
That's nothing. That's like wait till you.
but I've also had private conversations with you too. So, yes, I keep in mind. So full disclosure here. I do my best to stay as active in my gilded community as I can to support those who support me. And while I was smoking my Thanksgiving turkey, I was up very early in the morning, as one does when you have an actual smoker and not these things that men like to call them smokers. They're just man ovens outside, right? Men put the meat in the thing and they close the door and then they walk away. They don't have to tend to the fire. They don't have to watch their heat. They essentially do what women do in the kitchen, and it's putting something in an oven. So I have a smoker, not a man oven. And while I was tending to my Thanksgiving turkey, I was actually talking with Black Knight and several others, and I got to learn a lot more about him. And oh boy, he and I like to go off about the same things when it comes to government. So Black Knight is definitely amongst friends here. And this one here, Marcy Sowers. Black Knight, will you ever come to the U.S.?
Well, definitely. But if I am to visit, let's say, California, I don't know. I may need like a power armor or an exoskeleton suit and some like some protective equipment, gear, and stuff. Yeah, I'm joking. I'm not gonna go to California. No.
Thank God.
But
Hey, you should totally come. You should totally come to Iowa. Nobody wants to come to Iowa. It's a perfect place to be. But if you come to Iowa, I could cook you some
Or
fantastic
Texas,
food.
you know.
the aliens
Sir,
love
I'll have you up to Iowa too.
I'm not sure what you mean. Everybody wants to go to Iowa. Royce.
To shut the fuck up. Don't start that shit. No.
But
no,
these
they
are
do not.
good-
Nobody
these are
wants to
good
come
aliens.
here. We've
They're
got
tourists.
we've got
They're come to
constitutional
space.
gun laws. It gets cold as hell in the winter time. Like, no. Pot is illegal here. Very, very right wing. Stay away from Iowa. I already watched my home state fall. I swear to all that's holy hell, do not come here. Anywho's that was like, I almost had a conniption there.
Next,
The guys have seen me tangent. They've not seen me conniption yet.
Okay.
All right. Kiara Simonov says, Arangmar Brilliant. Because you're building something that's amazing, nothing good is easy to make. And I tagged that there because I felt that was a great compliment for you. I just saw that. I was like, you know what? It's not a question, but
In contrast, everything bad takes less time to make.
oh, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not wrong. oh, Kara Simonov. Oh, she knows. She gets it. Yes. Stay away. Stay away.
Stay away.
Stay away.
Yes.
I don't want it. I don't need you
I
here.
I think that there were a lot of bunnies and hamsters in Iowa, but they have lasers and railguns, and they don't like people hopping around and studying shit.
I think
They like their peace and quiet.
I feel like the bunnies and the hamsters don't like the Marxists. To say, is that too much? Is that too much? I feel
no, they don't.
yeah.
Nobody likes a Marxist.
Even the Marxists
Except
don't
for a-
like the Marxists.
You
Do you know what they say? Do you know
Oh.
what they say that no Marxist is a true Marxist?
Oh, okay. Ooh, you're touching. Yep.
They are saying it, not me.
Oh no.
It's too late
No.
for a rant.
No, but I want to. Okay. I won't tangent.
Next
Damn it.
question, please.
Save it for tomorrow.
I'll put my soul back in its closet and I'll beat it. My soul wants to tangent. Oh, yeah. Join my. For those of you in the chat, by the way, there have been some absolutely fantastic. I've had several videos in the last week or so about free speech and the idea of free speech, everything involved around it, and the Sunday live stream, and because I'm terrible at promoting this. The Sunday live stream is going to probably be fairly long. I actually had to warn my wife. I was like, hey babe, just so you know, because usually the Sunday live stream is around hour to maybe 2 hours at the longest. There are some long comments on this week's videos, and we are going to get into the nitty-gritty of free speech and the ideas of it on the Sunday Coffee live stream, which is at 11 a.m. And if you guys want to hear me have conniptions, that's the place to do it. But more so, if you guys actually want to hear your comments read from the previous week's videos, I go and I read everything. And usually I don't do super long streams on Sundays. But the lengthy comments that I've been getting this week, I usually try not to read all of them, but because of the subject matter of free speech, it's Sunday at 11 a.m. Central. I think that this one's going to be an important one. I think there's probably going to be several conniptions, and I think there's also going to be a lot here on Sunday. And so join me for the coffee stream. We start and that one we may start out with coffee, and by the end of it, who knows? Maybe I'll go and get the bottle of whiskey that I don't drink from upstairs. It's going to be. There's a lot of good comments. There really are, and I don't know how I'm going to answer to a lot of these yet, and that's why I'm asking people, guys. It's be there for that conversation. I go back and forth between your live chat and the comments. So let's get back. But I wanted to. We were talking about Marxists, and boy, howdy, do I love talking about Marxists, and that's the place. And
wait till you read the fourth book.
Gotta get through the first one first, and that's my fault. Okay, let's see. Where were we? Okay, Isidro Lopez Irwin for $10 says, "Finished your second book, Knight. Look forward to Treads of Doom." Or I'm sorry, Doom. Or is it Doom? Doom. You guys say it like drunk. You guys say it like a drunk college kid. Doom. Sorry, I apologize. I'm starting to act like a drunk college kid. Fantastic. Oh, we've finally got there. Kikomon for $5. Beer takes plastic.
What does it take?
Beer. The safety meeting today I had to give, I basically spoke for 8 hours solid. My voice is tired. And I'm also slightly buzzed. I mean, am I buzzed? I'm getting there. Not quite buzzed yet. Maybe another 4 beers I'll get there. Give me some high strength stuff. We'll get there now. Anyway, beer takes practice. Soy boy coming from soy sauce where man, it's different because I'm used to drinking the lightweight stuff, regularly, the Bud Lights and the Busch Lights, and those are barely like 4% beers. When you
are they beers even?
No, they're not. They're not. It's as many people in my country call them, they're piss-flavored water. Except for the rednecks. You call it that in front of the redneck, but the rednecks will get mad. But when you go up to 7% or 8% beer and you start drinking them like, the 4% beers, there is a noticeable difference. All right. And huh?
Nothing, just math.
I love you too.
Nah.
All right. I don't I don't know if we have any more questions after this one. I'm reading Marcy, which every time I read and I'm so sorry if you've heard this before, but Marcy Playground, yeah, you probably heard it before. Anyway, I don't do the whiskey because I drink whiskey like I drink beer, 12 ounces at a time. And my kids have never seen me drunk. I hate it. I hate the feeling of being drunk. I don't want to be drunk. Yes, I do like my beers. I do like the flavors of them. I don't need to be that guy. Probably don't need to be the guy that I am, but we'll worry about that tomorrow. Right now, we're going to worry about Tycho Valias. Gentlemen, stop it. Have fun. Wow, you guys don't take serious comments like that. So here's a question. What would you consider the social media hub for Iron Age? Lots on Twitter I've seen, but I'm also hearing about Minds. One author from college swears by TikTok, but TikTok is Chinese spyware. Please don't use TikTok and run away from it.
Yep. No. Keep your data. Get rid of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, not only is it bad for you in that regard, in terms of privacy and just incredibly invasive app, but I'm also strongly of the opinion that there's a huge amount of fraudulent views on that site because you'll have people going from I know a content creator type who was like, Oh yeah, I'm not doing like, oh, I'm doing some YouTube. Wow, I made a video on TikTok and it got 10,000 views. Wow, I'm over 100,000. I could see blah blah blah, and I'm like, yeah, but can we see how many of those translate into like clicks or whatever? And he like got really into making this super short form content, and I kind of stopped paying any attention to him. And 6 months later, he's back to kind of grinding on YouTube stuff, and it's like, I really don't think most of those views are actual human beings.
Oh yeah.
TikTok, I think TikTok has
no
has an algorithm that's
but
boosting. Well,
I
think TikTok engages in boosting. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but I would say my thinking with and everybody else is welcome to chime in, of course. But I think that I kind of take my strategy from a guy who goes by Styx Hexenhammer. He's a political commentator.
Oh, you follow Styx?
Yeah, but he always says, you kind of want to go where the views are, so you don't want to leave behind existing social media entirely. And I understand completely doing it because it is like a juggle. But if you can keep 1 foot in sort of the big tech world for exposure and 1 foot in the new tech world, trying to draw people there, he puts out new content exclusively on the new media platforms.
I have to interject here. Tycho, Styx is Diet Razor Fist? I don't know if I necessarily
or decaf.
Agree.
I would say he's decaf Razor Fist. I think that's better.
I don't know. Because they have a different way of speaking and attacking the same subjects.
Well, they have very different opinions on a number of things. I'd love to see them like hash out some of their thoughts on things.
No, but I wouldn't. I don't think that comparing Styx to Razor Fist is a fair comparison because of their attack on things, and maybe that's just the individualist mentality in me.
Well, I have several thoughts on this, but I don't want to divert too much, shall we say? Anyway, what does everybody else have to say?
Yeah,
as
what
far
does
as the social media of the Iron Age?
Let me pull up that comment so everybody can read it on screen, because I feel like we are getting
or social media.
Let's
Tycho,
see.
are you saying that they're the same person? Have you ever seen the two of them in the same room at the same time? Oh God. Marcy, thank you so much. Marcy says, I have to get going, but Black Knight, love you much. Good to meet the rest of you. Great seeing you, Kara, again. So thank you so much, and hopefully we made a new friend this evening, gentlemen.
Always. Yeah, well, I would say that Minds is a good place. It still is a good place for indie creators, maybe because there are so many of us there. And a lot of people from different places went there just because the indie creators were there.
Mm-hmm.
So you have maybe less people, but they are the right people. They are the people you need.
I really like Minds as a platform.
It's not like, let's say, let's give the example of Twitter again, with the crazy groups of well, you know what I mean. I mean, it's better to have less people, but the right people, the people who you actually need behind you and around you, and have like millions who actually hate you. So, no.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. No, Minds is actually a really good platform. I've been on it. I have been on it for years. I don't function on my old platform, but I actually met a lot of people on there, and there was a there was a painter, an artist that I met on there. She was fairly active, and she hasn't been active in over a year now. But and I'll shout her out, Jenny Lynn. And my dad, he's got Harley Davidson and John Deere stuff all over his house. It's the two things that he loves in life. He's got his tractors and he's got his motorcycles. And she did this tractor series of hers. And I mean, hand painted on canvas. And one of the tractors that she did was an old school John Deere. I mean, an old, like one of the early John Deeres, like when they first came out. And I saw that and I was like, man, she was always posting her artwork. I was like, man, this just speaks to me. And I reached out and I was like, hey, how much? And she goes, oh, well, for a print of it, it's this much, and so on and so forth. And I was like, okay. And she was like, but for the original, it's this much. And I was like, man, and the print just didn't, I wanted to get that something special for my dad. And what I'm speaking to here is not necessarily her, but the community that is on Minds. Because I met more people, but this was the specific interaction. And I was like, man, I would love to be able to afford the original, right? Not the print of it, but the original. And I was like, it just speaks to me. I don't know if I can afford that, but if it doesn't go anywhere, I'll let you know when I can save up that much money and get it. Because it wasn't a cheap price. And she messages me back a day later and she says, I thought about it. And she goes, when you said the words, this speaks to you, she goes, I know what that means. And she basically cut half the price off. Actually, a little bit more than half the price off. Yep. And that put it in my wife's and I ability to buy this hand-painted picture of an old John Deere tractor from my dad and send it to him.
Very cool.
And my parents have it hanging in their living room right now. And
So
those are the type of people that you find on Minds.
Yep.
And I almost don't want to tell people that, because like it's like you want to keep the quality. What Kira Simonov just said, quality people on Minds, no doubt the best. Yes. And it's like, I want to tell people about it, but also like stay the fuck away. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to tell people I love living in Iowa.
Well, I
It's
mean, I think
fantastic.
it's been out there. So I think a lot of the craziness has kind of already passed it by. Fortunately, that's actually one of the benefits to it, I think.
For now.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're not going to go over there en masse. They already have their pet projects that they're.
Yeah.
But anyway, not to get too far afield.
Yes. Kira Simonov, yes. Mine sucks. Stay away. Yes, stay away. Go to Minds. All right. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to do something this evening that I have not done before.
Ooh.
I know, because I was thinking about it. I've wanted to do it, but I suck. But as a gracious host, gentlemen, where can we find you on the greater interwebs? Let's start with Mr. Black Knight, our esteemed guest. Where can we find you? Where can we buy your stories? Where can we go to read more of Starshatter?
Well, you can find me on Minds. First, this is my main platform, which I always used. You can grab my books, all of my books from Amazon, both in Kindle and paperback. You could just look for Black Knight as in the search bar as an author, or you could just write Starshatter. It will pop up unless your countries has like a temporary shadow ban or something on certain indies, because as we all know, it exists. And of course, I have a Patreon, but my Patreon page is strictly for only for those of my readers, who wish to support me. I don't advertise it heavily because it's it's a place where I post short stories mainly, which they my readers help me with support, financial support, as it is the goal of this page. And then later I can include said stories into another anthology, another collection of short stories set in the Starshatter universe. So yeah, that's basically it.
Fantastic. And I did happen to share the Amazon link down below and the Minds link down below, so you guys can go and you can purchase from Black Knight and also follow him on minds.com. The Patreon links and stuff like that I did not have prepared because I suck, but I did share at least Minds and the Amazon link, and you guys can actually go find all of his links that are relevant over on his Minds page. So, all right. I am confused. Which of my esteemed co-hosts that keeps me on track every single week do I choose first?
You're up, Daniel.
Down! See what I mean? See how esteemed they are? They're so gracious and humble and just like, no, you take it first. Oh, I hate them. I hate them all. They're such great people.
I mean, we could be worse, for sure. I could definitely be worse. So
I think we're pretty tame in the grand scheme of things. If people were privy to our private conversations, it'd be a whole different world.
Some of them are awesome. I love them. They're great. You guys are pricks, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, my website for services and general hub is whimsyland.org. That's where I basically rent myself out, editor, proofreading, coaching, anything.
By the hour.
Well, it's pretty crazy. Mm-hmm.
I don't think you prorates, ladies and gentlemen.
Willing to travel up to 3 hours.
No, that's
Have you read a?
thing.
Have you ridden a bicycle before? Anyway, I'm sorry.
Are you done?
Wait.
One more.
One more. It's short. Whore. Sorry.
I was going to say,
I was waiting for it.
Usually how the riding goes, you know. Somebody's getting ridden, but
I was waiting for it.
Oh, this damn cough. Oh, get rid of it. Ow.
Royce's cough made Black Knight's microphone go crazy.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I kind of. I hit it.
Sorry,
Anyways,
I'm still not over this stupid sickness. Okay. Oh,
It's all good.
sorry.
Yeah, whimsyland.org or on Twitter at Mr. DP Riley. I have a writers group called Laureate on Discord that I've been working. This is actually we're going into year 2 now.
It's awesome.
Since it opened. Yep. And that's pretty much. Oh, thank you very much for the link there. Since I don't have anything prepared, since I'm nowhere near all of my stuff.
It's literally in the description of the channel every week.
Yep. And as far as my books are concerned, they're available. The links, I hubbed everything in a little thing called Bookshelf on whimsyland.org, but you can find them anywhere because I went wide with everything. So Amazon,
Nice.
Noble, anywhere books are sold, retail, you'll find them somewhere.
Awesome. All right. Mr. Richard from ironage.media.
all right. Well, you can find everything that I'm doing at ironage.media. You can also find me on Twitter at ironagemedia. And I recently posted an article about how things are going to be changing in 2023 and made a short video on my YouTube channel, which is ironage.media.
DOT.
Yes. And you can...
DOT.
I was going to say, you can find that up in the links of the ironage.media website. I also wanted to point out, I saw Trippy Soul talking about poetry. the prompts are changing and expanding, and I've decided to alter the parameters so things under 1,000 words can be
He's
submitted.
altering the deal.
Yeah, I'm altering the deal for
Pray he
January.
doesn't
So if you
alter
want to
it
send
further.
something in for one of the prompts under the poetry or flash fiction section, I encourage everybody to take a look and see if anything suits you. And Royce also started doing audio readings. So if you want to read something,
What the fuck?
you
when did I start
you can
doing
do that now.
this?
Yeah, it's on Wednesday. So, you still got plenty of time. But it's
Jesus
for
Christ,
TJ
what-
Marquis, The Tree is the first one up. So
Wait, what
go
the
take a look.
fuck?
I told
I
you
did.
it was going to happen. You're going to get browbeat into doing it.
What the fuck am I
Yeah.
doing? Wait, where is
One
this
of these?
private message?
Oh, you don't? Huh? Oh, I don't know if we have a private
All right,
message.
fine. All right, guys. I guess I'm doing a reading. Fuck it.
but-
Ladies and gentlemen,
I called it.
you can find me at A Drink with Crazy on YouTube or A Drink with Crazy on Twitter because those ones are fun. Or guess what? I also have two places that I would really, really love you guys to go. I would love you guys to go over to my locals. You can sign up to my locals for free. Why should you sign up to my locals? Because YouTube doesn't notify you when I upload my videos. And the only thing that I want is I want you, because you've subscribed to this channel, to see the thing that you have subscribed for. So go over to adrinkwithcrazy.locals.com and make sure that you just join that. You can join it for free. If you guys choose to support me over there financially, thank you so much, and I appreciate it. But more so, just thank you for going over there and just signing up for free, because that way, when I make a video, it's going to send you a push notification to your phone. It's also going to send you an email. You will actually get notified. This thing that YouTube doesn't know how to do, you'll actually get notified about all of the videos that I post. The other place that I would love everybody to be a part of, this is where I met Black Knight. This is where Mr. Daniel P. Riley engages occasionally here and there. IronAge.media. He also started a Gilded, but I guess I kind of, unburied the lead there. Go over. Join my Gilded. My Gilded is where the fantastic writers and creators and many of the people that you've actually met on Iron Age nights in the past weeks are in. They're there. They're talking about their stories. There are people out there. They're not all authors and writers. Guess what? There are people who are out there just buying the books. They're giving their opinions. They're sharing their thoughts on music. They're sharing their thoughts on everything. Mr. John Della Rose, who is in the chat here at the very end, is also over on my Gilded. He shows up once in a while and says hello to everybody. Mr. John Della Rose, how are you doing, good sir?
Good evening, John.
Hello.
Good evening,
hello.
good sir. We are getting ready to go to the after show of this show because we're getting ready to say goodbye. But if you would like me, I can send you a link and you can jump on with us in the after show. But ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say thank you so much for being here on Iron Age Nights. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you so much. Oh, man. So do you think they're going to think that I screwed up this week?
No, because you didn't explain it this time.
Yeah.
I know.
This
You
is-
have
They did it
It's
to
a
me
great
on
way to do
Sundays,
it.
though. They did it to me on Sunday. They're like, hey, we can hear you, right? And I was like, no.
Yes, like and subscribe. Thank you.
Yes, like and subscribe.
Yes.
And
Yes,
thank
do
you
that.
all for being here with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes.
Exactly.
John partied
And
too
thank
hard.
you to
Oh,
Black
God.
Knight.
I wonder
dear.
what John looks like when he parties too hard. Does John have like ugly drunk face or pretty drunk face? What do you think he's got? Like, I gotta know. But
Most important things covered on A Drink with Crazy.
I just want to know if John has ugly drunk face or like pretty drunk face. Like, what does that look like? Like, what is? No.
We got
I know.
one. We got
Thank
one.
you, Armin.
There we
I
go.
think it's a. Oh, I love Herman Pietzer. He's so great. I covered him this week. He's fantastic. Kikomon says John Della Rose is always beautiful at A Drink with Crazy. John Della Rose responds to Kikomon says, "That's right, Kikomon." Oh, good lord.
Even heaven right there.
Oh, it is. It's fantastic. Black Knight, thank you so much for being here, man. It's been a fantastic conversation, dude.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, dude.
It was great. I loved it. Even though it's like super early.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.